Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC TV podcast for MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we're going to talk about this week's DC shows, which means Supergirl, The Flash, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, and Arrow.
Yes.
Why are you looking at me like
Yes, and Arrow.
that? Okay, it was as if I'd forgotten one. You're looking at me as if, oh, you're forgetting that really obvious one. And I'm like, it's just the
No,
four.
no, just making sure you're paying attention.
It's been the four for a while now. I feel like if there's a change, I'll notice it. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do. It's all the episode 7s this week. It's also episode 7 of this show. And enjoy that, because I think we have 2 more weeks after this of... Actually, no, it's not even that, because we're doing 2 next week.
It depends how we number next week's. Is next week 8 and 9, or is it 8 part 1 and 8 part 2?
Nah, it's 8 and 9.
Oh, for God's sake.
It's 8 and 9, I'm sorry. Yeah, because in case we've probably mentioned this before, but just obviously next week is the crossover, and it's 2 sort of, you have Supergirl and Arrow on Monday night, and then you've got the other 2 on Tuesday night. What we're going to do next week is you're not going to have to wait till the end of the week. You're actually going to be getting the next episodes of this quite quickly, because on Tuesday you'll get the next episode, which will be covering the first night of the crossover, and then on Wednesday you'll get us covering the second night of the crossover. That is the plan. So yeah, hey. So that's a thing. But yeah.
This can only go well, right?
Yes.
There's no way this is going to go badly.
Yeah. Also, I think we can officially announce the lineup for what we're going to do off season. You know, when the CW shows go on their break for Christmas, we actually do have a game plan. We have something we're going to do in its place.
We actually thought about this.
And potentially exciting. There's multiple elements here. So what's going to happen is when all the shows go off, we're still going to have episodes every week. And what we're going to do on the off weeks is we're going to do 2 live action shows and 2 episodes, at least, possibly more, depending on how frisky we're feeling in any given week. But 2 live action shows and 2 episodes of an animated show. And the shows we're going to be doing that's this first chunk. And for a while, essentially, will be an episode of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, obviously the Superman show from the 90s, and sticking with Superman, and against my better judgment, I've been somehow talked into also doing episodes of Smallville, despite the fact that I have a very...
Yeah, this is mainly because people actually asked for this. People asked to hear about Smallville, knowing his opinion.
I'm not...
So...
I'm just saying, I will not be kind to it. I mean, I don't think I'll be that harsh in the early episodes, but...
It'll reach a point, yeah.
When we get later...
I think, from memory, the early episodes are very inoffensive. They're very, just standard.
They're not good, but they're not insulting.
Yeah.
But then you get to, like, season 6 onwards, the second half of the show, and it's 99% just...
Not quite 99. There are some genuine good moments in that back half.
Aye, there's the Justice Society episode. That one's good.
That's good. And the Booster Gold.
Oh, okay, all right. But anyway, out of 5 seasons, we're quoting 2 episodes.
yeah, I know. I'm just saying. I think that's maybe slightly less than 99%.
5 seasons is about over 100 episodes. It's 122. So if you get 2 episodes,
it might be 98%.
You're arguing,
how it rounds.
You're arguing with me over 99 to 98%. That's what you're arguing with me over right now.
Well, yeah. Did you not say 99.9 at first?
I might have done. I can't remember now.
Yeah,
I've been arguing with you too long. So anyway, yeah, episode of Smallville, episode of Lois and Clark, starting from the start, going through in order as you do, and also the animated show we're going to do. Although it's not 2 different ones. It's going to be 2 episodes, possibly more, depending on how we feel in any given week, but at least 2 of Young Justice, mainly because season 3's coming sometime next year, and I've not seen Young Justice, so this seems like a good opportunity to get through all those episodes before the new season hits. Additionally, when the CW shows come back, we will keep doing 1 episode of Young Justice a week on top of the regular shows that we already do every week, so that we're still working our way through it.
We have to get through it. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the thing, and then when inevitably the current shows we're doing, the CW shows, inevitably they're going to stop being so consistent with each other, because at least going on previous years, there'll be weeks after Christmas where 1 or 2 of them are off for a week. Basically what we're going to do is whenever it drops below 4 live action shows, we'll put in either a Smallville or a Lois and Clark as a bonus thing for that week to cover what's missing. So that's the plan.
May take a little while for that to happen due to them actually adding a fifth show. So we might.
That's true, yeah. Oh, yeah, because obviously there might be 5 shows, briefly. If there's one off while there's 5, we're not going to sub anything in, because 4's still enough. It's fine. Yeah. But plus the Young Justice, which we will still be doing.
Yes,
The
exactly.
aforementioned. So, anyway, so that's the plan. Those are the rules that we've established for the future, in terms of...
Until we decide that something goes wrong and we're going to change them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I say, look, when we're just doing 2 live action and 2 animated, we might feel like, we can probably do a third animated because they're much shorter than the other ones, but whatever. Anyway, so that's the plan. So hopefully that sounds fun and exciting to do once these shows are off and you still enjoy that. But with that said, I think we can get fired into this week's episodes. So, going through in order as we always do, because I'm a stickler for order, and that is Supergirl begins the show with season 3 episode 7. It is called, I've scrolled down, it's called Wake Up. Grab a brush and put on a little makeup.
Already.
What?
We're into rhymes now.
No, it is a lyric from a System of a Down song.
I know, but
you Philistine.
But just now we're just doing rhymes instead of puns. I don't care if they're lyrics.
Well, no, it's not because it rhymes. It's because when I hear "Wake Up," I think of Chop Suey, the System of a Down song. That's the first thing I think of. If it said "Wake Me Up," I'd think of Evanescence.
Your mind goes to strange places.
If it said "Wake Me Up," I would immediately go, "I can't wake up."
Christ.
So, Supergirl, and this is kind of an interesting episode because it's kind of one we've been a little bit dreading because a certain character is making his reappearance, and that is, of course, Mon-El, who we were not particularly fond of. I mean, he was okay at the start of last season, but once it became the romance plot, we really grew to dislike him and all of his plot. So, we weren't particularly excited about the thought of him coming back. So, it'll be interesting to see how we both feel about this, how they handled it, and what they're doing with it. I'm actually not entirely sure how Connor's going to feel, because on the one hand I feel like he's bringing something that Connor's really excited about with him, but on the other hand I feel like, but now Mon-El's attached to that thing he really likes.
Here's the thing. Mon-El inherently I don't hate.
Okay.
I grew to dislike him over the season, but I was like, okay, this is a fresh start of sorts. Mm-hmm. There are things, even just to do with him, not what he's bringing with him, to do with him that I really love, the angle that they're going. And then there's things that I really hate.
I'll tell you what I liked a lot in this episode.
What?
When Supergirl punched Mon-El in the face.
Well, yeah, that's pretty satisfying.
I like that a lot.
Pretty damn satisfying.
So what happened in this episode? So basically, we've known about this ship that's under the rock, under the city, in the water for some time now, but someone gets close to it and it lets out a blast, and okay, alright. So Wynn's aware of it, he's like, okay, so we have to go look at this thing, and tells Supergirl and Jean. Was that the only one I thought was weird, that Supergirl was walking with them on this, like, just outside in the street, in costume? I feel like she should be in Kara mode for this scene. It was weird. And to be fair though, there was like passerbys turning around going, hey, that's Supergirl. I'm like, okay, that's how they should react. I'll give them that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's no secret that she works with agents, so it was like, okay, this is plausible.
That wasn't really my problem with it though, was that oh she's working with the DEO. It was just more she's just walking on the street with other people in costume. It was just, I don't know, it was just something weird about the image.
I guess it was the point that they were expecting her to need her as Supergirl, so it's like, well, you just come in as Supergirl.
And we got a pretty cool Superman the movie reference because she was about to do the drill move.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy. Wynn very disappointed he didn't get to see it.
Me too.
I'm with you, Wynn. Although it was cool to see Jean basically do the phasing instead.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. When she started to, I was like, why doesn't Jean just drop him through the floor? And then he stops it. I was like, oh, good. Remember, Jean can phase. Yeah. Sometimes they don't.
He's way ahead of you. So they go into this ship, and Mon-El's there. He's got a beard. He's got a gun.
That's how you know time's passed.
Well, that was the thing. As soon as she said it's been 7 months, I went, not for him, it's not. Like, I knew it.
Exactly.
Because
it's so clear.
It was, like the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer with the Hell Dimensions. time passes differently. No, that's not exactly what's happened here, but that was where my mind went. I was like, oh, this is just like so and so coming back in that show. I won't spoil it. I won't spoil, just in case you know. I don't want to spoil Buffy. It's a great show. You should watch Buffy. But when certain character comes back and it's been like centuries for them, I'm like, this is what it's going to be like here. Like she emphasized 7 months. I'm like, oh, it's not for him.
Yeah, and Wynn had made a point of saying, "Oh, this ship had been under the rock for
12,000
however long
years." Or
yeah,
something
it was
like
real. So I was thinking, "Oh, has there been some kind of crazy time travel? Like, oh, he's been gone for a long time."
Yeah, it turns out the actual time he's been gone is not that silly. It's a reasonable amount of time for things to happen, but was it 7 years? I think it was.
Yeah, because he's like, "No, not 7 months, 7 years."
Yeah, little on the nose there, but yeah, fair. Yeah. So they calm him down, they bring him back up, and they're like, okay, why is he breathing? And they're not actually sure. We find out later, after he's a bit suspicious, he's a little bit standoffish with Kara, and he sneaks around, and I'm like, oh, he's someone else. They're going to have to kill him. He's evil now. Excellent. One of the above. And she punches him in the face. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the scenes of confrontation, mainly just because of the acting. From Kara, or must have been honest, more specifically, but you know what I mean. And then from Wynn, like when he comes to see him afterwards, I actually like that. I like Wynn being mad at someone like that is interesting because you never really get to see it.
Wynn doing anything is always good, so more of it.
Yeah, but it convinces Wynn that they have to like go down and like help the ship because it's it'll put Kara in danger if they don't. So Wynn does. I actually really liked that Supergirl when she shows up in the ship when she goes looking for them. She immediately looks at Wynn and says, "Are you okay?" Like I kind of like their concern there. It's like, okay, I'm mad at him. I'm going to beat the shit out of him, but I'm checking sure Wynn's okay first.
Yeah, she thinks he's been kidnapped.
Yeah, and he's like, "I've not been kidnapped." Yeah. So I've got a question. When did you? Because as much as we both predicted, okay, it's going to be longer for him. It's going to be years. When was the moment you said, "Oh, he's married"?
It wasn't until I saw her.
It wasn't until I saw her specifically. It was as soon as there was someone in the tube in danger, I went, "Oh, that's his girlfriend or wife."
Yeah.
That was the moment I went, "Okay."
That's what I mean by seeing her. Like, it's like, okay, there's someone there that he's going back for. I get it.
Yeah, and what was funny about this to me is, on the one hand, it's a little bit okay. It's kind of a love triangle, but on the other hand, I'm like, yes, he's off limits now. The relationship's dead.
That's what I'm torn about. Yeah. It's like, I'm like, yes, I love that this is over and done with. We can move on. On the other hand, I know for the next X amount of episodes, we have to go through this love triangle bollocks.
Well, not next week, because next week's a crossover.
No, that's why I said X amount of episodes. It was just, skipping that one.
But not Crisis on Earth X.
Yes, exactly. I got confused. Maybe I shouldn't have used X.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fair point.
But yeah, so now I'm glad that, and I wonder if this is a response to, like, because there was a vocal backlash to that relationship last season. There was a lot of people who were not very happy with it. For the same reasons that we were unhappy with it, to various degrees.
Alternatively, there was an extremely vocal subset that loved it.
Yeah, but you get that with any TV couple. But like, I feel like you don't typically get the backlash to a couple, like, unless there is something wrong with it. Whereas, like, sure, good couples will get a lot of positive buzz anyway, but when there's a big backlash to one, it's like there's probably a reason for it. Sometimes it may not be just, but I feel like in this case it was a backlash because it was really poorly written. It didn't really convince us that why she liked him or even cared about him. It was just kind of kept nagging her until she gave in.
Yeah, then, at least this new relationship, I don't have to see it all form and start. It's happened.
Yeah, it already happened, yeah.
And B, I buy it because he was a better person come the end of that season, undoubtedly. Which is why, I mean, it didn't make sense for Kara to have gone, into that with him. But like, by where he is at the end, I get it.
Yeah. So, are you excited by who this wife is?
I am. I knew who it was as soon as they said where the ship was from. I was like, oh, I know where this is going.
Well, yeah, because he mentions that he went in that wormhole at the end of season 2, and he's been living in the year, or not the year, but the 31st century. He's been living there. And I immediately went, okay, this is the Legion stuff. We're getting Legion.
I think it was even before that when they mentioned the ship was from Saturn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. They did mention that.
When they said that, I was like, I know who it is. I know what this is.
So in walks Saturn Girl. Although Irma Ardeen being the name she's going by here. I wonder if they'll actually get to a point where they use the name.
They will.
You think?
I give it 6 episodes.
Yeah, I could see it. I do like that she it's an interesting dynamic that she's because when she meets Kara, it's this little awkward moment where you know exactly what's going on, and you know that Kara feels awful, and you feel bad for Kara. See when Kara's upset about something, she's like a little sad puppy. It's really it's hurtful to watch. You feel bad. That said, I don't want her and Monel to get back together at all. No. Go cry on one's shoulder. You have chemistry with him.
Yeah, please.
But yeah. So I do like the whole thing where. Even if by this point, even with the name, if I still hadn't been like, oh, this is a Legion character, because I'm not as big a Legion guy as you are. I mean, I know Saturn Girl, but like, it's the moment where she goes like, oh, it's an honor to meet you. I'm like, okay, so it's a Legion person because it's someone from the future who's like Kara's a historical figure to her. She's someone from the history books.
This big inspirational figure.
Yeah, which I think should at least have an interesting dynamic between the two of them, because she's going to be looking up to her, and Kara's going to be like, oh, you bitch.
Yeah, I really want to see how it goes, because obviously the Legion, typically their founding figure is Superman. And I wonder how it plays with Supergirl. Do they think of her as overlooked because of this, or do they put her up there with him in the same way that we kind of do in this world right now in the present?
Yeah, I can see them maybe in this universe. Maybe Supergirl founded it as well, or
yeah. Well, that's what I'm really intrigued about. Do they go the route of her having kind of been a little bit overshadowed through the legacy of time, or do they go the opposite and raise her up even more?
I mean, they could do some commentary with that if she has been kind of forgotten.
Yeah.
The whole idea that the man was remembered, but the woman was. They could play with that if they wanted to. It's just not.
Yeah, and maybe it's people like Saturn Girl who remember her specifically.
Yeah, and she's I could see it. I could see that doing something. Obviously, we didn't get a whole lot of her acting to really see if I like her yet, because she was in one scene where she talked.
She was fine. I don't have any problems as of yet, but I don't have anything to praise either.
Yeah, she didn't have anything to do to tell me if I was going to like her as in any type of varying context. It was just, oh hey, it's nice to meet you. Kiss Monel. That was it.
It was fine, but nothing to really judge.
And I think what's weird is I kept waiting to not like it. Like I kept because it's Monel, and because I have this I already know I don't like him from last season. I kept waiting to hate the episode, and it actually never went into hate mode for me. Because of how they've brought him back, and because they've made it clear, okay, he's got this wife, and of course the one caveat here is that he cannot dump Saturn Girl for Supergirl at any point in this season. That will infuriate me.
Yeah, that's it. I liked everything it was doing. Like I said, I came in with that bias too, where I'm like, I was going, ugh, Monel, I really don't want to watch this. But then I was like, okay, this is really interesting. They're doing something fresh with him.
Yeah.
And then it got to love triangle stuff that it set up, and I'm like, I don't want to sit through this. Not this, please.
See, I'm hoping the way it's handled isn't actual love triangle per se. It's because I actually think it could be a fascinating.
I think it could.
Examine because he's married. He's done. He's made his choice. There's not. I feel like there'll be some awkwardness between them, but I really hope they don't do the. Oh, will he want to change his mind?
Typically, I'd agree, and normally I'd give the writers the benefit of the doubt, but. Love triangles on the CW are the one thing where I do not give them the benefit of the doubt. I expect the worst.
That you get fair reason to. I feel like the way they should handle this is not a typical love triangle.
I agree. Let's see if they do handle it that way, or if we get angry.
For me, I think the interesting thing here is the idea that she thought Monel was dead, or at least he was gone and never coming back, and now he is back, but he's still kind of that whole relationship is dead. That is still dead. That should be an interesting.
It should be, yeah.
Discovery or story for her to work through and stuff. But we'll see what they do with it. But at the very least, I was worried that when he popped back up, I was just going to be groaning. But at least him coming back to the present day with Saturn Girl from the year 3000 or whatever is much more interesting than his entrance in season 2, where it was just kind of, oh, I'm kind of a refugee from Daxam, and I'm a bit of an asshole, and
I'm yet another person in a pod.
Yeah. Yes.
A lot of people in pods.
More in the pods in a second. So no. But
I agree.
Like I say, I think from her perspective, though, the emotion played for me most of the time.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's been nice more than anything else, but
wouldn't be the first time, would it?
It worked. So no. So before we get to the rain stuff, let's just quickly do the Martian Manhunter and his dad.
Yeah.
So Mirren, I'm not sure. Moran, maybe.
I don't know how it's spelled. I'm not looking at it.
M'Yrnn.
Mirren?
Mirren? Yeah, I thought. Anyway, John's dad. So he's been cooped up in the DEO to the point where he even asks Wynn if he can use the bathroom. And Wynn's like, "Hey, this is weird." It's like he's a prisoner.
He's like, "You've been here like 3 weeks."
He's like, "Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
can I go use the restroom?" So funny little thing, actually, just before he goes out with his dad, he has to be convinced that he can leave the DEO. And Alex like, "Hey, like, everything's fine. I've got things covered." And Wynn's like, "Yeah, leave us in charge. We'll be fine." And then they just both look at Wynn, and he's like, "I mean, leave Alex in charge, because you don't want to leave me in charge of anything."
And they're going, "I should not have said anything. This is not helping. Please stay."
Just one of those small little moments that I really get a kick out of. But so he takes his dad outside and he has coffee for the first time, and he's like, "Oh, this brown water's nice."
Yeah, I can't remember what he calls it, but it's not coffee the way he pronounces it.
Oh, it's KFE or something like that. He sort of announced all the letters in a weird way.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Jean's like he keeps looking at his phone and his watch. He wants to get back. He's obsessed with his work, basically, and his dad notices this and he's like, "Hey, you can go back." And they have a bit of a falling out, and it basically just kind of hits on the idea that Jean he's had nothing on earth but work for like decades, so that's just what he's focused himself on. So he doesn't have people that he cares about, whatever, but it's just that's his life. That's what he does. But now he's got his dad back, so it kind of all resolves with him getting an apartment for him and his dad. Because you kind of get the impression, I never really thought about this before, that Jean probably just lives at the DEO as well.
Yeah, he clearly did.
Yeah, so he's like, "Hey, so I got us an apartment." Also, I liked how when they walked in, his dad's just like, "So what do we do with all these empty rooms? What are they for?"
Yeah, that was funny.
Did people not move into places in Mars? Like, did you not, like, or did you just build a house from scratch? Is that what you did? I don't know. I don't know. But no, simple little subplot. But
I think there were points where I was like, "This is a bit too, nail on the head." But I like the ending and where it's going forward.
I think it was such a small enough subplot that I didn't really mind what it was doing or how it was doing it. Ultimately, I feel like it was there to set up a new set, basically. Here we've got Jean in his father's apartment. We can have some scenes there now.
Yeah, everyone's getting new sets this year.
Yeah, Alex has had their apartment this year, because that was new this year, right? Like, no, that was their last season.
No, that was their last year.
Yeah, but it wasn't season 1. That was just new season 2 place.
Yeah,
and then so that's cool. That's fine. But of course, the other big plot we have to talk about is Rain. And the various things we do with this. You're making a face at me. I feel like you didn't like this very much.
No, I actually quite liked most of it.
Good, I agree with that.
There's points where I really don't like it, though.
The scene that really fell flat for me, because because she's feeling different, she puts her hand in boiling water. Tries to like hide it from young Ruby. And first of all, I'm curious what the effect is. Like, how did they do that? Like, how did they get it to bubble without heat so that she can do that? What's the trick?
There must be some basic chemical.
Yeah, you can just put in it and it'll just bubble for you.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's got to be something simple like that.
Yeah, it will be. But I was just thinking of it. I'm like, oh, that's a neat little trick, because it looks like it's boiling, but it's not. I mean, maybe the steam CG just to give it that extra.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, but so she goes. She's like, okay, she plants Ruby off. Oh, by the way, I found out. Matt told me this week. Apparently, the actress. I'm going to fact check this as I tell you.
No, you don't trust Matt's facts.
Odette Annabelle, who plays Sam / Rain, or will be Rain, he was telling me that she was in. No man, she's been in a bunch. She's had small roles in a few things. She was in the first Transformers apparently, and I do not remember her at all.
Are you sure about that?
It just says.
I think IMDb's lying to you.
It just says socialite, so it wasn't a big role. It was a small role, but let me just scroll down to the start. Yeah, her first ever role was as one of the little girls in Kindergarten Cop.
That's cool. I've never seen that.
Ugh, you're the worst. But then it was 6 years before she was in anything else. But I thought that was cool. I'm a big fan of that movie, so it was just funny that she was in that 25 or 27 years ago now. So, but anyway, so she goes on this journey. She's basically doing the I want to go and find out who I am and where I'm from. So she goes to her foster mother, or adoptive mother, however you want to phrase it. This was the scene that fell flat for me.
Yeah.
Was them arguing.
Yeah, she kind of goes back and forth so quickly as well. On top of the arguments, kind of feeling really thin.
Yeah. I wasn't particularly impressed with the actress playing the mother either.
No, bit ropey.
Bit ropey. I mean, obviously, I liked where it kind of eventually went because it went into the barn. And although I was thinking, like, well, it was just out in the open with a tarp over it, and she never wandered into the barn and saw it.
And I am really going, it's like, how many people, like, the US government is shit. Like, they're awful. All these pods come down and just random people collect them. They have not found a single one yet.
There's some truth to that. I thought it was weird, like, just why is it not buried, or like at least they have it in a basement. It felt so weird to me. Like Sam was meant to have lived here till she was like a teenager when she got pregnant. Like she never as a kid came into the barn and looked under the tarp. I don't know. It felt so weird to me.
That's true. I mean, we haven't seen where they hid the the ships on this show, really, have we? Like Clark's, for example.
No, but like I feel like because we know that she was a kid here. Like kids run about and play. They hide in strange places. They do things like that. It stuck out to me as feeling really weird.
I can't wait till we get to doing Smallville and see where that ship is. I actually remember where that one is. I
remember from Lois and Clark where the ship's supposed to be, but it's not there when they go look for it.
Yeah.
More on that when we get to that episode.
Yeah, we're teasing this real good, aren't we?
So she goes out, but her journey after that though, when she gets this, one of the crystals, one of the data crystals out the pod, and her journey with that, and she follows the crystal because it's kind of like a homing thing, and she's like driving it. All the stuff with her in like the desert and the flats, I really liked all of that. Like see those big wide shots of her walking in that sort of big wide open space.
Yeah, that was really nice.
I thought that looked really just. I know it's just someone walking, but I thought it looked big and it looked bold.
No, it did. It looked like we're in a real place.
And then we basically got the fortress moment, but it's rock, and I thought, this is kind of cool.
I love how it forms the exact same way as the traditional fortress.
It's the exact shape. It's the exact same shape from the outside.
The way it comes out of the ground, the same. It's like, it's a fortress.
But it's rock. And I actually laughed out loud at the end when she went inside and the hologram called it our fortress of sanctuary. I'm like, oh really? Did we have to pick another S word?
I know. But I did like the idea that it's sand versus snow. It's the complete polar opposite of the fortress that we're used to.
Yeah. It's hot versus cold, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And she goes in and she talks to this ghost, not ghost, you know what I mean, the hologram. And she's basically, oh yeah, you were designed for justice, and she's like, oh, I'm a hero, like Supergirl. Like she's excited by this. She's like, oh man, Ruby's right. But then it gets kind of dark. She's like, no, you're a world killer. You were designed to kill worlds, and then it turned. This is funny because I think one of our questions was like, why is she only getting her powers now? But they actually explain that here.
They do. Yeah.
Apparently, the reason why she's only just getting her powers now is that because she got pregnant before they all kicked in, that delayed it. Which is still, I mean, Kara and Clark both had powers at an earlier age, but I can buy there's some differences because she's not actually like naturally born. She's this experiment, yeah. So I'll buy that there's some differences, and it was a nice little touch because I feel like I didn't expect an explanation for it. I thought they would just never address it.
No, that's fair.
So that's kind of cool. The only thing I don't like about the whole ending, because what I do like, I like that the evil Kryptonians like, yes, that offspring was an unfortunate setback, and then I was like, okay, I can see where the sort of inner conflict's going to be coming from here later on. Like she's designed for this thing, but Ruby's going to be the thing that pulls her back out.
Yeah, and what I'm assuming as well is the rain programming, if that's maybe the right word, is going to be like, okay, just kill the kid, get it out of the way. Be like, that's a distraction. Is that and is there going to be like a literal fight there?
Oh, possibly. Maybe not at first, but yeah, like once, like maybe if Ruby like kind of like stalls her on a mission or something like that, she'll then decide, okay, I need to take the kid out so that doesn't happen again, and then we get that struggle there. The only thing I don't really like about this is just how it's kind of an on switch, where she just turns into it's like the hologram just says, okay, initiating rain programming, and it's like, bleh, okay, evil. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that it's like, I was a little bit worried that she was just going to go evil really quickly. Like, the best possible case, if she was going to go evil, would be a long, like, drawn out, what makes her evil. That could be interesting. But if it's going to be a quick switch, I'm at least glad it's not she just turned evil really quickly. It's like a sleeper thing.
I agree, but at the same time, it still kind of feels cheap, doesn't it? It's just like, click, you're evil now.
It does feel a bit cheap in that sense, but at the very least, it does mean that the Ruby side of it can prove, like, because that can be like, oh, we can bring her back if maybe Ruby can, like, talk her back out, and, like, it gives you this idea that she's inside, like, trying to fight to get back out. It's not really just her.
Yeah. It's why I say I mostly really like this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, all this stuff, except the ending and the stuff with the mother, which I really dislike.
Yeah, the mother stuff was easily the worst scene of the episode.
Yeah. But the problem is that kind of bookends this journey, so it kind of filters my view on it a little bit, even though most of it I thought was really good.
Like I say, I think I'm not particularly thrilled about the whole it's just an on switch, but at the same time, now that we've done that, like,
yeah, I'm hoping going forward it's fine.
I still think, like, at least for right now, I mean, it's hard to, like, say without seeing the rest of it, but right now she's the best season-long villain they've had. It's not a tough competition.
Yeah, I'm just thinking I went for something. I was gonna say, what was the season one?
Oh yeah, no,
it was yeah.
No, and a bit of a. It was supposed to be a Brainiac, but it was crappy Mystique.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, with T-1000 powers for some reason. But no, so
do you think we're getting Brainiac 5 this season?
I think we are, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think so. I think someone get cast.
Oh, did they? I don't think I saw this.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Maybe I'm making up memories, but but I do like all this stuff, like all the stuff with the actual journey. I liked, like, it made me realize when she was out in the desert and the car broke down, she got out and she was kind of like, oh, why am I doing this? But I was like, I'm kind of liking this journey. Like, it does feel very like a polar, like, sort of thing with Superman and Supergirl. More Superman, because Supergirl didn't have the whole, like, going to the Arctic and like getting the fortress. But
but it's one of those where we're familiar enough with the story to know that it's playing those beats, but the opposite on purpose.
And I think because we've had some time with Sam, and her plots have not always been great, but I think because we've had time with her throughout various storylines, like, now that this is happening to her, it doesn't just feel like, oh, she benefits because I already know who she is, and I care a little bit about her at the least. Like, she's not just some random person who was introduced this episode.
No, that's true. I can't disagree with that at all. I'm not sure I'd say I like her at this point, because she's, as I said, I've had mixed feelings on her plots, but it's infinitely better than, oh, okay, here's X person this episode. This is your villain now.
Yeah, it felt like it meant a little bit more when she was like, when she was watching the Rock Fortress form. It felt like, oh man, she's someone who this up until recently has never seen stuff like this, and she's been affected by it. Like, it felt like, because her plots have mostly been, oh, I've got a kid and I need to deal with having a kid. Like, having her, like, watch this, it felt like you really get the sense of, oh, this is like something really different coming into her world. That it's no pun intended, but rocking her world. Like,
you intended that.
I did not intend that.
Bullshit.
So you know what? For an episode that I was kind of dreading because Mon-El was back, which I heard about before I watched it. I was like, oh, Mon-El's back this episode.
Yeah, me too.
I ended up coming out mostly fairly positive. I liked most of the Mon-El stuff. Really?
Well, yeah, I think that's how to say. I like most of the Mon-El stuff, and I like most of the Rain stuff.
Yeah.
I like most of the Jean stuff, which is, I mean, the only other real plot. It's just a few little things that hold it back from being like a really great episode.
Yeah, it's like a solid B.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like what's setting up for the future. And I like how, like, Kara's going to be like, oh, I'm glad I can get away and go to this wedding next week for the crossover. Like, she'll want to get away and not look at him. Yeah,
I hope we don't, because that pulled down, she had the crossover with the Flash last year. And that was right around with the Mon-El stuff, and that kind of dragged that down in places.
Oh, I'm not too worried about that. I think if any effect the crossover will have on her plot is that maybe she'll not feel as bad when she comes back because they'll fought through this awful thing.
I just don't want her to go into this wedding and be like, oh no, it's wedding. It's, oh look, he's married. I don't want any of that next week. Not a single scene.
I'll accept one moment during the wedding with her looking kind of sad watching it. I'll accept that. I'll accept that. I agree. I don't want it bogging down things, but I'll accept that as long as she's still quite peppy with everyone else when the push comes to shove. But hey. Anyway, I'm looking forward to crossover though. Which is
Me too. A lot.
There was a new poster out today for it. Actually, I don't know if you saw it. It was all the villains
in the masks.
Yes, and they're all like coming from one side, and
and it's got the heroes on the left.
No. It's just.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, just the villains. Oh, admittedly, it may just be half of a full thing, maybe, but there was.
Yeah. I'm sure I saw the other day where you got the Reverse Flash, Supergirl one, and an Archer.
There was 2 Archers, and there was like a metallo-looking robot thing.
Oh, I think this is different. Let me just have a quick glance.
So it's in the TV thread in the group if you're looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's Supergirl. So fairly hopeful actually. I will say this, like just comparing this to the first 7 of season 2, I do think that this season's definitely tighter and has more focus in what it's doing.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So good points on that.
I've just got this this poster. This is a different poster.
Yeah.
I see a Red Tornado in the background.
Oh yeah, Red Tornado's in the background.
That's a season 1 callback.
Who was season 1 of what?
This we had a Red Tornado in this.
Oh, that's right. We did.
That was that episode with the first really great anger moment.
That's right. You're right. Do you know what? But he looked so shit. I'd forgotten that was Red Tornado.
Yeah. I won't dispute that.
Oh man, Red Tornado.
Yeah. Couple of Archers. I can't tell who either of them are supposed to be.
I assume the one towards the front is the evil Oliver, but
yeah, I'm really hoping John Barrowman's the other one. Got my fingers crossed. I know it's unlikely, but I've got to hope.
You never know. It could be. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to The Flash. Season 4, Episode 7. It's called Therefore I Am. And this was, because obviously we ended last episode coming to DeVoe's house, and he was like a normal guy in a wheelchair with his wife. This is the one where we get flashbacks. I was actually laughing at one point. I'm like, oh man, they've been taking some lessons from the Arrow team with these transitions to the flashbacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
at least they were a bit more stylistic though.
They're a bit more stylistic, and at least we don't get flashbacks often enough in Flash where I feel like I'm bored of them.
No,
because this was all important stuff. There was nothing.
I agree. Also, I like the title of this episode. Very clever, very witty.
Yeah, I think therefore. Yeah. It's very good.
It took you a second there.
Anyway, so we get DeVoe's backstory with his wife and how he wanted to inspire his students because he's a professor and he wanted to be a better scientist. He wanted to be a bit smarter basically, and his wife is an engineer of sorts, and she makes him the thinking cap. This thing, so he puts it on when the particle accelerator goes. Which, by the way, they know full well that not Wells is not wanting to succeed.
How good was it to see Wells Abad again?
That was pretty, especially since when he sort of knows him. He's like, "Oh, DeVoe, yeah, I know you from the future."
Yeah. I'm a bit of a big fan of your work. I'm like, oh yes.
Also, I know it's only been not even 4 years but three and a bit years since the first episode. But I'm like, man, Barry and Iris look younger. In that scene.
Yeah, I mean, even Wells looks younger. The first bit where you see it on the TV, where it's clearly the old footage.
Obviously, it transitions to new footage for the questions and stuff. But he gets struck by lightning, so he becomes really smart. He has infinite knowledge. He can predict things. He knows the answer to everything that's ever been known.
So, some of them were a bit of a stretch.
Sure,
I think
yeah.
like the ones where he had information of some sort and then deduced outwards to any extension. I like those. There are other things where you're just like, I just know that now.
It's a bit of trivia that he just knows now.
That one bothered me. But when it was okay, I'm presented with something and then I can know everything that what that means.
Yeah. I actually really like because he starts collapsing and he goes to the doctor in the flashbacks, and he basically keeps rushing the doctor through because the doctor's used to explaining things slowly and explaining what things mean, but he's like, no, I know what this means. So yeah, you mean this is happening in my body, and he was just firing everything back at him, and he grabbed the file off and he's like, okay.
Yeah, that was one of those weird examples of the inconsistency where at first he didn't know what was happening, which is why he went to the doctor. But as soon as he saw the file and saw what it was, he was like, okay, I get this now. But
yeah, well, I think he went for scans and he just kind of understood himself from the scans what was going on. But obviously, it's just formality to go in and get have the doctor tell you about it. So no, I'll kind of stand up for that one. Kinda. I'm not going to die in a hill for it, but so yeah, so she makes him this fancy chair, which is going to keep him alive and sustain him for X amount of time. So my first thought on all this stuff is I actually really like this actor. When he's not in that goofy helmet and chair, he is really good.
Yeah, agreed.
He was like all this present day stuff when Barry and Joe come and talk to him and they're all very nice at first. He's got a samurai paint in the wall. He's like, oh yeah, samurais are great. Obviously referencing the samuroid from the first episode. But so you've got that, but later on, like, so Barry comes by and he sort of, it's a bit more hostile. He's a bit more like sort of quid pro quo. And then they go and complain at the police station and sings like, hey, stop it, Barry, you've been warned. And then Barry finds the camera and the samurai helmet and goes into their house. And I was like, why are you not dressed up as the Flash? Hide your appearance, you idiot.
And also, you've literally, like, he comes back and goes, oh, they've got cameras everywhere. They're watching every move.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, then why do you not think they've got cameras in their house, you idiot?
Yeah. So we'll get to Barry's side of it because I want to talk about his side of it. But
yeah, me too.
When it gets to like the after everything's went down and like Barry's been caught in the house, he's been suspended by the police for breaking into someone's house
for good reason. He complains. He's like, "What? Really? Yes." Things like, "You're lucky I'm not arrested you," and I'm like, "Yeah, you are pretty lucky."
Especially, it's like, I get you why they try and explain it to Joe and stuff, because they at least know why he has suspicions, but like, like, what can you say to him? Like, he doesn't know.
There's no active investigation.
Yeah. So, but anyway, but Barry, anyway, still goes back to sees him. He's
yes, this is after he has a restraining order.
Yes, he goes back to the college and he talks to him, and this is where he's like, I'm just here to ask you a question. Who are you really? And this is when Devo is just like, he's got a literal wheelchair, so he just sort of comes round. Which, by the way, reminds me of my favourite joke in this episode.
Yeah, I just remembered as well when you said that.
when there's questioning why Barry's so determined to like that this is the bad guy, it's just goes like, he's got a bad history with guys in wheelchairs, and he points to Harry and he's like, that wasn't me.
You know what? I forgot just how big a part of season 2 that was. You know, the getting over that. Oh, it's the same face. We can't. Should we trust this guy? But
no, I love, like, honestly, like, obviously we didn't write him off, but we were so kind of like, oh, he's whatever. When we saw him in the goofy chair when he was flying around, and he's been like, oh, I'm the thinker and all that. But this scene when he like comes around, he's like, who's asking, Barry or the Flash? And Barry's like, how did you... Well, first of all, Barry, you take that mask off for anyone who's going to ask, so don't even ask that question.
Yeah.
But see when he's like, oh, you and your Council of Wells, like, they couldn't even deduct what my power was. Like, you like, no, everyone from every universe in the multiverse couldn't be as smart as me. And he's like, I'm more dangerous than anyone you've ever fought because... I like
the idea that you accidentally slipped into that one there because it's thought.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But he, like, I actually kind of like what he was poking at. He's like, yeah, I'm admitting who I am, and I'm admitting I'm the bad guy because I have nothing to fear from you. You don't stand a chance. Do about it? Yeah, like I am just a middle-aged man who's a professor. I live at home with my wife. You have nothing on me. I can tell you everything I'm doing. Yeah, I'm responsible for the bus. I'm responsible for all that shit. You can't do anything.
Do you know what? I think I up till now, I don't think I realised how much I wanted a non-physical threat to Barry. Because obviously that's all we've had. We've had speedsters. And I've enjoyed all the speedsters to varying degrees. And I didn't think I was bored of it. I was like, when we knew this was going to be the villain, I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm down for a change.
I will say after season 2, I was really hoping season 3 wasn't going to have a speedster villain. I was disappointed when it was. But I mean, it was fine. It was probably my weakest of the 3. Like, I like Zoom more than him, and I like Reverse Flash more than Zoom.
I don't think it was necessarily because it was the third one. I just think it was weaker.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But I didn't realise just how much I was like, oh no, I wanted something different. Like they had to do this.
And honestly, like, this scene legitimately excited me about him as a villain.
I agree.
It legitimately made me go, okay, no, this is why you picked him. This is why you picked the Thinker.
Yeah.
This is good. This is him. He's like, no, you can't touch me. I am untouchable. This is basically the bad guy from Lethal Weapon 2 going, diplomatic immunity.
It basically is, yeah.
Apologies for my atrocious Southern African accent.
Yeah. I think that might have been offensive.
No, what are you talking about? It was offensive.
Well, maybe. It was pretty rough.
You should hear my Australian accent. That's offensive.
Oh,
Which is funny because South Africa is a mix between English and Australian. It's a really weird mix of a accent.
do you know how I always think of it as a backwards New Zealand?
Which I think, you know what, I don't even mean that because he actually mentions he's from South Africa in this episode, The Thinker. I don't even mean that.
Yeah.
I just picked Lethal Weapon 2 because he was untouchable.
No. I get what you were going for. Yeah.
Oh, look at that! I somehow stumbled into a better reference than I even could have imagined.
Crazy.
There you go. But no, they kind of justified why they picked him for me, and I was like, kind of excited, and it's just like, hey, like have a nice wedding next week, and I'm like, oh man, that's super intimidating. He's like,
It is. Yeah.
he can do anything, like, and Barry can't touch him.
And
like,
I
seemingly
really
yet.
feel is part of the story going to be, does Barry I mean, all right, it's not going to be if. When does Barry contemplate just taking him out as the Flash going in there and just going, I'm stopping this.
And we've seen that he like thinks steps ahead. He predicts where conversations are going to go. In fact, at one point in this, in one of the earlier scenes, he says, "I'm the luckiest man in the world," and then Barry says that in like one of the next scenes to Iris, and you're like, was he predicting that he'd go back and say that? Like, was that like a little?
Yeah, I think like Barry's, because he looks at the
Yeah.
picture, he goes, "Did I say that because of him, or did he know I would say that?"
Yeah, and we've seen that he predicts things like that, and he does that. I mean, I know he's watching them all. We see that he's got cameras in their houses and stuff. Like Barry's apartment's bugged.
Yeah.
So like, no, like I'm actually kind of like, he still looks goofy. Like, you know, at the end of the episode when he goes back into his like secret lair, and he like the head comes off and the little cables come out.
I'm not gonna lie, the moment where she pulls off the top of the head, I loved. I was
did
like,
you like
oh my
that?
god, there's a brain. This is amazing now. I don't care how goofy it is, there's a brain.
Yeah, my biggest complaint, honestly, the whole thing is that you see the you know, obviously the head comes off, the cables come out, and then you see the helmet coming towards him, and then it cuts, and he's got a leather like his costume on. And I'm
My
like,
question is, okay, I see how the helmet got to him, and you know, I get that.
yeah.
Now, how does he go from there into the chair? Would it not have been easier to take him out of the wheelchair and put him into the chair first, and then just go down? Because now they've got to turn around awkwardly, and cables are just going to get twisted.
I'm going to say the cables are fancy and they can spin. She's thought of that. She's designed a thing that'll keep someone who's dying alive. Which, by the way, the reason why he's dying apparently is that his brain is so powerful it's basically just draining the rest of his body of life.
Yeah, it's taking all the energy for itself.
Yeah, I mean the doctor kind of describes it as ALS, but it's like a new weird like
Yeah.
you know, one of a kind thing that he's never seen before. So he's goofy when he's in his secret lair, but when he's not in there, I really like him and I like the actor. I thought the way he was playing off of him, both before he revealed who he was and was just openly talking about it, but especially when he was openly talking about it. I was like, you can't do nothing. Like, oh, you've been punching gorillas? Pfft, you ain't seen nothing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It was like, okay, this could be good.
Yeah, I'm legitimately this could be the best villain they've had if they play him right.
Yeah, and I stand by the best villain is still, you know, season 1 Reverse Flash Wells.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably stand by that. Yeah.
But this could top it.
It could, like, if they play it, if the scene that scene, what it's hinting at in terms of the stakes and how they handle it, if they play it that way, it could be legitimately great.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about Barry's side of this, because I actually found great enjoyment in Barry's side of it. I love the idea that everyone else, because of all the evidence they get at the opening scene, where he seems normal, they even look into his, like, all of his records, and he's like, oh no, he's got good financials, he's got good health, he's not a meta, like, they've vetted him thoroughly, as much as they possibly can, and everyone's like, he's probably okay, he's probably fine, and I love the idea that because after season 1 and 2, everyone Barry's trusted has turned out to be the villain, that he's just not willing to drop it. He's like, no, every time it's the one we think's okay. No, it's him.
Yeah, and I think I do have some small problems with this idea. Like, I love Barry being insistent, and I think the whole thing in general is funny. But because obviously we know that he is the villain, it kind of fell a little bit flat for me that we were going through this at all. Especially when it was like, okay, well, it only lasts 25 minutes.
Okay.
Like, why do we bother?
So you think it'd been more effective if we didn't actually know? If it was...
Either we didn't know, that for sure that it was him, because obviously we know for certain that this was him already.
Yeah.
So it kind of loses its mystique of we're going. There's no, oh, is Barry going too far? Because we know Barry's right, so there's no drama to it.
I think it still works for me though, just purely because it works from his character perspective.
No, I agree. I think it's everyone else that I kind of have the problem with.
I think I'd probably agree with you completely if they dragged this out for like episodes. Like if this was episodes of him slowly getting more obsessed and everyone was like, oh, it's not him, Barry, calm down.
Yeah.
But the fact that after that conversation when he comes back, he's like, oh, by the way, guys, he knew I was the Flash. I actually really wanted Barry to be like,
told you so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. And I think that's part of what my problem is that it's over already. So okay, if that was it, why did we bother with that for 20 minutes? I don't know.
Because it shows how good he is. It shows that everyone else was convinced. Everyone else, they looked into him and they were like, no, he's fine.
Okay, that's fair.
But Barry was he was dead set on it, and he proved he was right. So no, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I see what you're saying, but I think I'm fine with it. I had, if anything, I feel like the moment when he actually told them, oh, by the way, he knew it was the Flash. I think they all maybe just went, oh, so it was him. Maybe just a little bit too quickly. Just
yeah, exactly.
I feel like they should have maybe went, wait, what? What do you mean he knew you were Flash? I feel like he had to explain it a bit more as to what he said in the scene before they all went, oh shit, it actually is him. So that would be my one complaint, because that felt a little bit false to me. But otherwise, I actually kind of enjoyed the him being dead set at him, especially when it led to moments like Iris comes in and he speeds back to the desk and he's like, oh, nothing, but the paper's still moving around, so she's like, you don't want me to see something, and she knows about that murder board, so she pulls the thing up and it's like just this pin board with his face, like DeVoe's face and all of this stuff, and he's like, what's this, Barry?
Yeah. Okay, moment I groaned at.
Okay.
We're the Flash. Again, I was like, I thought they'd drop this. I was like, I thought it was a one-time thing. I groaned the first time.
Nope.
I thought it was cringy.
No.
I thought, okay, we're never going to do that again.
No.
She remembers.
We're the Flash. It's going to be a thing. Ever.
Stop trying to make this a thing, Iris. Iris, I'm loving you a lot, but just stop trying to make this. You are not the Flash. He is the Flash. You're part of the team. You're Team Flash, but you're not the Flash.
That's what we think of. Do you know some people comment and they think you're also Scottish? It's making me think of that.
Yeah, that annoys me too.
We're the Scottish. Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I get annoyed by the smallest things sometimes.
I'm not gonna lie. When she said that, I actually smiled and laughed, because I know all the internet's made so many memes out of the "We Are the Flash" moment, that the fact that they're putting it back into it.
See, that's the thing. I don't know if they went, no, we're keeping this going in reaction to that, or if this was filmed before all that came out, and they were like, well, they still think it's a good idea.
Well, it was episode 1 or 2, so this might have been after.
It has to have been episode 2.
But it was right at the start. It was not.
It was. So it's right on that cusp of this could have been before or after. I'm not entirely sure.
Curious.
And that's the thing. I watched. I was like, I don't know if they've just gone they think it's a good idea to call back to it, or if they've seen the memes and gone, oh, we're putting it back in.
I also like just other small moments where Barry's convinced it is him, and Caitlin's like, hey, could we not assume that people are evil? Maybe assume that, because she's like, we're not all metas are just evil by default. Let's not do that. So there's a couple of little moments like that. Also, I've not watched them yet, but I do appreciate the reference to the Criterion box set of Zatoichi, because I do want to watch those at some point.
I've seen the first one. It's pretty damn good.
First of 26 or something
23,
like that?
I think.
23, yeah, there's a lot of movies in that.
Yeah.
Honestly, anytime a mainstream show references a Criterion release, I'm more than happy with that.
Yeah, and actually, he comes up and goes, oh, best Criterion release. I love that Harry looks over and is like, yeah, it is. Harry's in agreement on this one.
The only weird thing is that obviously they already made Kurosawa references when the samurai was first around, so I get why they went with someone different, but I feel like you'd probably pick them first to say, oh, samurais are cool, like Seven Samurai, Yojimbo.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. But Cisco's too on the ball. He's like, I'm not making the same one twice.
Okay.
I mean, he made 2 different ones in that episode.
He did, yeah. And he did, yeah, absolutely. So Am I missing a subplot before we move on?
I feel like we got through that really quickly.
It wasn't that quickly.
I know, but I think it's just because I don't know.
No. Obviously, Wally showed up at the end. That was it.
Yeah.
That was a small one, but there was no other subplots. So that was everything. Yeah.
No, I mean the Wally thing was a bit like, okay, I get it.
I have no problem with being back. I don't understand
I'm
really
not sure why it was gone. Yeah.
Because it felt like, I thought it was going to be longer. I thought, or he'd have some sort of grand entrance or something.
I see, and the thing is, I was like, oh, he's back for the wedding. It's a family wedding, but then they never mentioned it.
Now that still may be why though.
I assume that's why he's back. He's coming. It's Iris's wedding.
It's
he's
next week.
Be there.
Yeah, it makes sense that he's back now for that.
It makes sense, but I just assumed he'd reference.
In a TV show way, he's back for the crossover more specifically for shenanigans. Of
course. I want a reference to the yellow suits.
By who? For what?
Well, with the Reverse Flash stuff that's next week.
All right, you want someone to comment the fact that he's got a yellow suit like Reverse Flash? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sure.
Yeah.
All right.
And also, a little bit disappointing there was no Ralph in this episode. I've got really used to having him around.
Yeah, but I honestly though I can't deny that it felt more focused because they said no, it's about just these one or two things, and I agree. They shoehorned in that, and that I don't know why I use that word. That's a negative word.
That's a negative one.
But they it's not even the right context. They focused in on the one or two things they really wanted to do, and it all felt connected. And because of that, I think it's a stronger episode. So
I agree. Even with my criticisms, I still think it's a very good episode.
Yeah, actually, I laughed because when he's showing them the photos, because you see it in his photo, because he's showing Devoe the photos of the people in the bus that they know about so far, and I loved it when they get to the clumsy one. The clumsy one. The lucky, the unlucky girl. I can't remember her name. I loved her photo. I noticed this before, but it's just because I've seen it like multiple times because they keep going back to the board with all the photos.
Yeah.
But so when they showed it to him, I went. I love that because she's unlucky, her photo, she looks kind of like she wasn't expecting the flash, and it's just not the camera flash, not the.
No. Well, I'm with you.
It looks like she can't take a photo because she's just so unlucky, and I just think that's funny.
Yeah, I'd like to see the after photo. It's just this perfect shot.
But yeah, so I guess we'll move on to Legends of Tomorrow, Season 3, Episode 7. It's called Welcome to the Jungle, and we are going to Vietnam for this episode for a couple of different things. First of all, we got Grodd, which is...
Yeah, wasn't expecting that. I didn't know that was coming.
Which is pretty cool. I think I did hear at some point. I didn't actually know... I didn't remember when I started the episode, but as soon as there was a hint of a monster, I went, oh, I think it's Grodd. I feel like I know it's Grodd.
This is funny, because this is the reverse of what happened with Damien Dark, where I was like, I knew it. I remember hearing it at some point, and I kind of put it together just before, but... I had no idea about Grodd.
Yeah, so Grodd's in Vietnam, and he's enlisting people from both sides of the conflict to build a cult because he wants to take over the world. In short,
Grodd gonna Grodd.
Grodd gonna Grodd. So the team come back to Vietnam, mix against it, and we find out why in a little bit. But they come back, and some of them go out and try. Specifically, Zaria, Maya, and Ray. They pretend to be journalists and trying to cover the war, and they try to talk to people. And this Vietnamese woman takes them out to this cult camp where Grodd's. And obviously, as soon as Amaya seen him, I was like, "Oh, she's going to use gorilla power at some point. This is going to be good."
You know it's coming.
Yeah. So that's pretty fun.
And I'm going to get my negative of this episode out of the way early.
Go on.
No Sarah.
Or very, very little Sarah.
One moment doesn't count. It's basically no Sarah.
Yes, no Sarah is a downside. But
I felt the loss.
It does give others a chance to do something. Honestly, my biggest negative for this is because they actually tried to do a serious story with Mick. I didn't get funny Mick. I got this Mick, which is fine, but I miss funny Mick.
Yeah, and especially when you haven't got Sarah there to make up for it, to cover the loss of funny Mick. Because
Mick's worried that he's going to run to his dad, and he does. And credit to them, I didn't realise this until they pointed it out. It was when, like, wait, this can't be a coincidence that he ran to his dad, and we ran into Stein's ancestor, and then there was a plot about Ray and his younger self, and I'm like, Do you know what? They're making a very good point here.
Yeah, I didn't get that either until they said. I was like, oh shit, they're targeting family or versions.
Yeah, like it seems, very specifically intentional. I'm like, oh, that's really nice that they planned that and that someone's pointing it out before I clocked it.
I think it's because we'd only had two up to this point, like you say, Stein and Ray.
And I think Ray's different because it was himself and it wasn't like a family member.
Exactly.
Yeah, but this one, and then immediately point out, I'm like, okay. So they haven't forgot that Mick apparently burned down his house with his parents inside.
No. I'm glad, because that's kind of a big thing.
I don't know, because he's such a good comic character, I kind of just almost wanted them to never mention it, just so it could keep being funny. Because if you bring it up, we have to kind of do the serious plot, which they kind of do here. I do think his dad... I laughed when he first came out, because I thought, oh man, he's got a really over-the-top gruff voice to match Mick's.
It's Mick 2.0.
However, after about one scene of it, it started to really annoy me, because it was so over-the-top.
It got a bit grating, didn't it?
Because you could tell it wasn't his real voice. He was putting this voice on. It wasn't like a natural thing, and it really became apparent as we were going. So it started to bug me.
The self parody went a little far.
Yes, I'm going to open the door for a cat. You keep giving thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. But I get that they kind of did this with Mick, and I know, like you say, you wanted them to forget that he burnt down his house, but I think it's important to do it every so often, because all the other characters have big moments still. I mean, we just had one with Ray. We're kind of going through it with Stein.
It does make sense. I'm just kind of being selfish in the sense that I like him being the goofy, funny Mick. That doing this kind of takes means for an episode I don't get that. I get
and instead we get Mick burning himself.
Yes, and we get like Mick's dad and talking about family and lots of puns about, oh, son, I'm not your son, and all this.
Yeah, pops. It's a figure of speech.
Yeah, yeah, it isn't Mick. maybe. I mean, okay, as if you're talking to someone who's clearly like twice your age, and then it's like a normal figure of speech. When it's someone who looks the same age as you, not so much.
I'm thinking maybe they get away with it more in the '60s, because it's a very, I like pops is a very. I think I associate more with like the '50s.
Yeah, maybe.
But I mean, it's closer than saying it now.
Yeah. There's actually a lot of different little plots going on. They all connected to the same thing, but it felt like there was more going on than usual, because you had Jax trying to save the president.
Yeah.
From a minefield, which was kind of wacky. Meanwhile, he was upset at Stein because Stein was having trouble trying to split up Firestorm, but letting him keep his powers, which he wants. Also, while having Isaac Newton.
No, it was Einstein and...
That wasn't Einstein.
It was.
It was Newton.
I'm sure we had Einstein.
It was... No, there wasn't. It was Galileo, Isaac Newton, and Madame Curie.
I could have sworn he said Einstein.
There was jokes about apples getting thrown at him.
Oh, yeah. I could have sworn I heard Einstein at some point.
No, it was... We've had Einstein in the show. We know what he looks like.
We have, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But no, it was Isaac Newton, because they kept making jokes about... all the stuff he did. So,
yeah, all that stuff that he did.
Obviously important. I'm just saying, because at one point he jokes about, can you only figure things out if there's an apple in your head or something like that, like all that stuff. But yeah, so you got all that wackiness, and that actually comes into play. Newton ends up saving his ass later on when Grodd's controlling Sarah, who's she's in sick bay most of the episode, just kind of in a coma. That's it. Actually, probably the most impressive part of the episode was Grodd jumping up onto the Wave Rider and like jumping around on top of it trying to get in. That was pretty cool.
It looked great.
It did.
I really did, because down in the jungle they're doing the typical. He's mostly hidden in shadows.
Yeah.
It looked good. Don't get me wrong, but I can see they're hiding him, and I was thinking, I was like, it's a do that. Better hide him and play to your strengths than just have him look weird. But then they just come out and do that, and I'm like, damn. Yeah,
clearly they were saving their money for that scene, because they knew that scene was the big one, and we've seen that in Flash as well, where they'll save it, they'll save him until those big moments where they really. You remember, because that Gorilla City 2-parter last year was great for the most part.
I agree
for what it was.
I think it's because Legends is much more effects heavy than Flash, as just as a general rule, consistently. That I assumed that they didn't have the extra to do that with Grodd, and it would just be shadows the whole episode.
I think that's why the rest of it's filmed in a forest, because it's cheap.
Yeah, definitely.
They'll have to build any fancy sets, like recreating a 1920s street or anything like that. It's just No, just forest.
Yeah.
Or jungle, more specifically.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I thought about correcting it, and I thought, no, not
you know
worth
what I
it.
meant. Same difference. It's foliage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the idea that it was a location scout. Because obviously they shoot all these in Canada. I love the idea that there's a location scout who just knows where the good, like, the jungle that can double for Vietnam, like, where that is in Canada. They know where that is.
I hope that location scout is paid well, because I think to have just knowledge like that off the top of your head.
I don't know. There's too many warehouses. I feel like the good work that they do is nullified by the warehouses that I see constantly.
No. See, that's the thing. I assume this one they had to go to someone else. They were like, look, anyone know one? They brought someone and go, hey, I know one.
Yeah. So that was kind of just the episode. But we have a little bit about, you know, Grodd, like, he's made this cult and, like, they actually believe him and all that. I think ultimately I didn't love this episode because the actual plot down in the ground, both with Mick and his father, and then with the actual stuff that Grodd was up to for most of the episode. I mean, I really liked it once he confronted Amaya, and Amaya went all gorilla, and then he went after the Wave Rider and all that big impressive action scene. I liked all that stuff, but the actual plot up until that point, it wasn't necessarily doing much for me. It was just kind of whatever.
I agree. For me, I think this might be the weakest episode of the season. It's a combination of okay, there's like 3 different plots going on that all get in like equal amount of time, and I don't really need this. Kind of pick your focus a bit more. None of them are that interesting. It's the least funny episode.
It is the least funny episode.
And again, I need more Sarah. You can't just kick them off like that. You can't just take them out for an episode entirely. It's not fair.
Well, you can, but
no,
this is what happens. I liked her entrance at the end, though. Throwing star in the pie.
Cool. That was cool. That's always cool.
Yeah, so, you know...
Throwing stars are inherently cool.
So, it's fine. Obviously, I was actually confused as to where Grodd went at the... You know, because it cut to, like, them all on the ship as if everything was all fixed. I'm like, where did Grodd go? And then you see where he actually went. Damien Dark grabbed him. Damien Dark.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're doing Legion of Doom 2.0, but with Damien Dark now he's got Grodd. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I'll fight with this.
I get you. It's like Dark's gone, hey, look, what Thorne did was cool. I like that idea, but I'm going to do my own version.
Yeah, so, you know. Also, I like that I didn't think they would bring up the Themyscira thing, but at the start, Mick's like, hey, can I get dropped off on the island of beautiful women?
Yeah. Also, why did she tell Mick?
Well, that was probably the funniest part about it. It's just, Mick, I told you not to tell anyone.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you're going to tell one person. Don't make it Mick.
Yeah. But that was the other thing. They offered Grodd, like, oh, we'll take you back to before man, where you can live in peace if that suits you. Mm. But maybe it wouldn't. Maybe, like, there's no intellect to keep him stimulated.
Yeah, it could be.
You know, I think
it was a nice idea though, of like, hey, look, we can, like, it comes as this idea of we can slightly alter time if we kind of go and cheat in a roundabout way.
Yeah, it was because that was the whole thing with Helen last week. It was, well, she just, like, it doesn't matter if she goes back there. She just has to not be affecting anything else.
Yeah. She can't be here, but she doesn't have to be there.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel like that might come into, because that's, twice now, like, this idea has been brought up. I feel like that might come into play later in the season in a big way.
Yeah, I think so too. So, I mean, I like that, because I actually did think about Predator, and then they cracked the, because where he's like, oh, I can't just give him his real name to his dad, oh, he's Schwarzenegger, and then I was like, okay, that was kind of funny, and then later on he's like, oh, first we were doing Predator, now we're doing Apocalypse Now, he's went full Kurtz, and I'm like, okay, I get the jokes, this is pretty cool.
It's I like when it's very self-aware, isn't it? And I think it's fun because it borders on becoming too serious in its parody if you don't acknowledge it when you've got time travel.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Do you know the sad part about that is, though, I almost kind of wish it was more Predator, like where it was just Gorilla Grodd in the jungle and the team were hunting them through the jungle.
I agree. I think that would have been more interesting.
That'd have been way more fun. It wouldn't have had to be in Vietnam, obviously, because like then you'd have to look, why, because then you'd be like, okay, why is there? You'd have to deal with soldiers running around. No, he's just in a jungle somewhere, and they're having to hunt him.
Yeah, but the problem is, if he's just in a jungle somewhere, what does it matter? Why do they have to stop him?
Okay, fine, it's still Vietnam, but it's just away from the soldiers. Whatever.
I'll allow it.
what, he affects something later. They're getting him before he does the thing he affects stuff with.
All right,
Easy.
fine.
But there you go. So that's
It was still enjoyable.
Oh yeah, it wasn't terrible or anything like that. It was just in a season where it's mostly been hitting out at the park and the fun factor. Like, I feel like this was probably the weakest one, and then last week's was a little bit muddy in places as well. So these have been probably the two weakest episodes.
Yeah.
I think.
I agree. I think last week was better than this, though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
This one was just. I think this was notably the weakest for me. But again, still better than 90% of season 1.
Oh yeah, outside of the first 2 episodes, this beats all of season 1 still.
Yeah, exactly.
So, take that for what it's worth. So I guess we'll move on then to the 4th show, which is Arrow. Season 6, episode 7. It's called Thanksgiving, and it actually aired on Thanksgiving, which is weird, because usually they take breaks for that. But here we are. So, as per usual, we watched this together. Connor was drunk. Getting more drunk.
I'm a bit hazy on this one as well.
As the episode went on. So Diggle...
I remember a new set.
Oh, the police station. Yeah, there's a new police station they're opening. And Oliver gets arrested. The FBI lady comes up and arrests him in front of everyone.
Yeah.
And then the judge is like, okay, your bail's $5 million. And then I actually cracked a joke and said, hey, it's a shame she ran Palmer Tech into the ground, because she'd maybe have that to give. And then she's like, oh, I do have that lying around. Yeah. It was funding money. Startup money for her and Curtis's company.
Everything I have grown to hate about Felicity in the past 3 or 4 years was evident in this episode. just every year, because I used to like Felicity. I thought at the start she was reasonable, but they just went too far with everything, and now she's just become a caricature.
Yeah, I can see that. So yeah, he's been arrested. He's been let out on bail, and he's going around. Meanwhile, Diggle is having withdrawal symptoms. He can't function. He's actually basically told that until he heals fully, he can't be on the team and be out in the field, because otherwise he might get paralyzed. So, so stay at home, Diggle, for the time being. You can be in the computer chair. And yeah, so that's the whole thing. And we have like this plan that the Black Siren and Michael Emerson, whoever he's playing, I can't remember his name. Whoever he's playing, they're going to attack something, and then they feel, oh, it's going to be this explosion. It's going to be at this Billy Joel concert. In fact, we added a new rule. When they mentioned Billy Joel, we said if Billy Joel actually has a cameo, he has to down his drink. That was the rule.
I'm not gonna lie, I was disappointed.
And it was technically there. It was stock footage of another concert, but that didn't count.
Didn't count.
Had to be. He was there with the Arrow cast, filming a cameo.
Just for a moment. And I'd have downed it, but
no, it wasn't.
Arrow never fails to disappoint.
But it all turns out to be a ruse. They know they're going to stop it, and it's not actually a bomb. The whole thing is just so they can. They basically have fake cops at the event, and all they want is basically footage of Team Arrow beating up fake cops, and then release it onto the internet so that the referendum to put through this
vigilante, which is like the next day.
Which is the next day. Very, very tight timing on this.
Well, to be fair, I think that's intentional. On their part of, you want to do it last minute. You want to make sure they go into it. There's no chance to change anyone's mind back.
Oh, sure, but what if it didn't play out like they wanted it to? They've got no time to do another plan B.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
You account for mistakes. You account for...
So you think they should have done this plan like 2 weeks ago and just held the footage ready and released it? It's like,
easy.
Okay, we've got the footage.
Easy.
Night before, here we go.
It's just the footage that has to be fresh.
You're right. It's the release of the footage that needs to be that night, not the recording.
So because of that, though, the referendum goes through. So this vigilante bill's happening, and Oliver has to make a statement. After being arrested on camera in front of a crowd, including his family, and young William is distraught that his father's in prison for being the Green Arrow. And of course Oliver's lying to, because Oliver has to be Green Arrow this episode. He suits up to go and help with this stadium thing because the team's in disarray. In fact, they're actually arguing about who's taking charge, because it's Mr. Terrific, Wild Dog, and Dinah. Obviously Dinah. She easily be the leader. And obviously.
The one part of credit to Felicity here is she goes, well, Dinah's the leader.
Yeah,
and Wild Dog's like, hey, she's got the least amount of field experience. Like, Who cares? She clearly has the most leading experience.
Yeah, I mean, Curtis is not a leader, and you're a psychopath, so
You're a wild card. You can't be trusted to lead.
it's a wild dog.
As soon as I said that, I was like, please don't comment. I thought I'd just let it slide. I thought if I move on quick enough, you won't come back to it.
I'll comment. Don't you worry, sunshine. So that's kind of the main gist of the episode. But let's not bury the lead here. Thea woke up. It's a Thanksgiving miracle, just in time for the crossover, so that we can have Red Arrow. Although it's going to be feel a bit weird though if she like puts on a suit and goes fighting after waking up from a coma that she's been in for like months.
It's just crossover syndrome. She loves it.
Well, that was the thing. Last year, she was like, I'm not a vigilante anymore. I'm not doing it. I'm a normal person. And then, like, the crossover started. What, there's aliens? Oh, I'm suiting up. It's time. And then she left awkwardly halfway through the crossover.
I assume, at least on this one, she's not going with the intention of suiting up. She'll go for the wedding, because it's friends, and it's like, well, I'm here. I might as well.
Yeah. But hey. And at least this time they may have an excuse for her not to be in anything but the Arrow and Flash episode, because she'll be like, I can't do anything here now because I'm still weak from being in a coma.
Yeah.
Because I've got a bad back, you see. I've been in a coma. I can barely walk. Although that said, Felicity got up out of a wheelchair after being sitting in it for months, so why not Thea?
Stop reminding me.
Oh dear. Yeah. Also, Lance is still having conflicting thoughts about Black Siren, given that he looks like Laurel.
Oh! I just remembered. Felicity and Curtis had a real fight.
Oh, they did, yeah. He was not happy. She just went ahead and named it the Helix Company without even talking to him about it.
She's coming in there going, you use this prototype without my knowledge.
Yeah, and then at the end of the episode, she has to tell them that she spent their $5 million startup money.
Yeah.
I feel like, Felicity, you named it without talking to him, and then you used all their money without talking to him.
All I'm going to say is, she is her mother's daughter.
She so is. She sure is. Oh, it's so good. Oh dear.
So just on the hearing for Oliver, and we were really confused about this because they were like, that she goes, what on what grounds am I being arrested? That photo got debunked. Oh,
that's right.
And they were like, we've got evidence. It's cool. We got it. Trust us.
We're going to waste it here in this hearing, though. We're going to save it for the trial. And I'm like, but if that's the reason why you're arresting them, you have to. Like...
I mean, now that I'm not drunk, I assume they shared it with the DA at least, so they've seen it and gone, okay, yeah, this is evidence.
But I mean, like, they say when they arrest him that he's been charged with accounts of murder and accounts of this and blah blah blah, but like surely you have to have more than just saying what the crime is. Like if you've been accused of murder, you have to say who you're accused of murdering who. Like who have you murdered? Like
isn't that one of the rights? You have the right to face your accuser.
Assuming they're alive, yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. But assuming you have the right to face your accuser. So whoever has accused him of these things, they have to, he gets to argue back, and you can't argue back if you're like, oh well, we're not going to tell you what it is.
Yeah, very little of this made sense, but whatever. I'm past the point of.
I just remember being really annoyed and confused.
In fact, Oliver gives Diggle this dad speech where he's like, "Oh, I'm really disappointed in you, Diggle," and they have a bit of a fight, and then they make up again, and then at the end of the episode, they're in the hospital room with Thea. They've got a turkey. It's Thanksgiving. Everyone's happy as possibly can be. Nothing can possibly go wrong for the rest of this season. Happy dappy. Also, at one point in this episode, I think it was with Lance, when Lance was like talking about Black Siren, and he's like, "Oh, have you got like a homicidal doppelganger of your daughter running around?" And he's like, "Oh, fair enough." But my ex-boyfriend was vigilante, and he's like, "The guy with the goggles?" And I just laughed so hard at him. Like, yeah, Lance, that guy from last season. Yeah, that he came back, and it turned out he was this person. Yeah. I just really cracked me up. So
Yeah, and also we noted how Diggle had a different hospital room this time, and we were really impressed.
And
then the next scene, it was like, oh, Thea's in it. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why they had a different hospital scene set, because they couldn't show both of them being in the same room in the same episode.
And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was really obvious that they'd rushed this second hospital room because it didn't really look like a hospital room.
It looked more like a storage room with a bed in it.
Yeah, it had all these metal like filing cabinets around, like lab desks almost.
What are you gonna do?
Have more than one hospital room set. It's not that hard. You got 4 shows. Just borrow another one.
So Willa Holland, who plays Thea, had 6 episodes off. Well, 5. Sorry, she was in the first one, so she had 5 episodes off.
Yeah, yeah. Got paid for all of them though, didn't she? She's raking it in. She's got the best deal out of all of them.
Yes. See if she takes more time off after this episode.
Oh,
Like,
she definitely is.
she, like, is she wanting to leave the show? Is she on this like weird half contract?
I think
Like, what's
she
going
must.
on?
I think she must want out, or not necessarily want out, but she wants to do other things. And they're like, but we'll pay you. We'll do it. And she's maybe done an agreement going, oh, look, I'll come around for all the big ones, but I want to be a series regular still. If I'm doing that, if I'm guaranteeing I'll be here for the big episodes, I'm not having some guest star bollocks. I'm having the series regular. You pay me for all of them, and you use me 6 times a season.
Yeah, but why? They're not doing anything with her. They didn't do anything with her last season. She was just kind of there.
Yeah, I don't know, but
So
TV producer logic.
I can't buy that because
Look, blame Speedweed.
there's no purpose to her. Like, she's not doing anything. But
I'm blaming Speedweed because I've got no one else to blame.
well, are we done? is that
Yeah,
all?
I don't remember anything else about the episode.
I think
I still can't remember the villain's name. It's really I've spent that whole conversation trying to remember it.
I've seen it on IMDb now, so I can tell you.
Please.
Caden James.
Oh, thank God, I was never going to get that. not in a million years would I have gotten to that.
That's fair. That's fair. So yeah, I guess we're at the point now where we pick our favorite episode of the week.
Yeah.
I'll go first. I think edging out for me is Flash. I think the way Flash just got me excited about the villain takes the points for me. I'd probably put Supergirl in at second, and I'd put Legends in third place because it had its weakest episode, I think.
I definitely agree. Legends is the weakest of the 3 this week. I think I'm going to have to give it to Flash as well as number 1. I think it just edged out. I had a few problems with both these episodes, but both of them were very good episodes still.
Yeah.
So I'm not down on either of them at all.
And it's funny how both of them are doing something very different for villains, and that's partly why they're better.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. No, yeah. Flash, then Supergirl, then Arrow. Not Arrow. Legends.
Yeah, I was just saying.
I think I was just thinking, what else did we just talk about? I was like, oh yeah, we talked about Arrow.
Yeah, just think.
It's late. I'm tired.
Just think, it's only about less than 2 months' time. We'll have Black Lightning to rank in there somewhere.
See, that's going to be really interesting because I assume it's going to feel very different to these shows.
Yeah, which is nice. It'll shake things up a little bit.
Yeah,
That'll be cool. But hey, so I guess that's us. If you happen to read DC Comics, we also do a DC Comics podcast called Comics from the Multiverse.
Yeah, we had a big week for that.
We did. Doomsday Clock came out this week, so we talked about that. The pair of us plus Matt. That is on episode 79. We started that when DC Rebirth started May of last year, so that's much longer running than this. But
don't worry, we'll get up there.
Oh, we will. I'm sure we will. Well, they announced a Harley Quinn animated series for their DC streaming service this week, on top of their Titans show, on top of their Young Justice Season 3. So, add that to all the stuff that's on network TV. I mean, we've got DC TV content for years. We're fine.
We're sorted. And then we've got off-season stuff planned. That, Smallville and Lois Clark, that's just the start.
Joe upsets me. I know eventually the off-season content's going to turn into Gotham somehow, and I'm not looking forward to it.
No, please no. I might have to get drunk for that.
That said, all of the stuff I hear about it is so batshit insane that, no pun intended in that one.
I always say batshit insane on that one as well, and I have to go, no, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean like that. It's just batshit insane.
Yeah. So, hey, the fact that I've not seen past episode 5 of that, maybe we'll make that.
I think I got as far as the mid-season, so maybe 9.
You've seen
more than me. I'm not watching it again without being drunk.
Alright, the first 9 you can watch drunk because they're new.
I'm not watching past that without being. It's getting like.
Alright, fine. You can watch. Hey, if I drank, I would get drunk for Smallville. I would.
No, I get that.
But I don't. Maybe I should start drinking.
As good a reason as any.
Oh god! And also, I'm saying it right now. When we're talking about Smallville, there will be at least one reference per episode to the sex cult.
Have we referenced that yet?
I don't think we have.
I think we kind of avoided it when we learned about it, but if we're doing Smallville, it's getting brought up.
Yes, find out when we start doing Smallville. We'll explain what that
Just
means.
if you don't know what this is, just Google Alison Mack sex cult, and you'll see. Trust me, you're in for a crazy read.
With that said, I guess we're done. That has been episode 7 of Television from the Multiverse. We will be back next week. In fact, we'll be back in a few days with the next episode because we're doing
weird, isn't it?
Yeah, we're doing the crossover. It's kind of weird though because it means there's not one at the end of next week and then there's one the following end of the week after that. So
you're getting 2, and you don't have to wait long for these next 2, but then you do have to wait nearly twice as long as normal.
yeah, for the next regular episode.
I mean, it all evens out.
So that's that's whatever. But hey, hopefully we'll have fun with this crossover. I'm looking forward to it, and yeah. So let us know what you think of this week's episodes in the comments and stuff. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. If you get the audio feed version, then rate it on iTunes and that kind of thing, or your podcast app.
Tweet us with your thoughts.
Yeah, what you can do. For this one, probably at DC Comics Podcast is probably the good one. That's the Comics from the Multiverse Twitter, rather than the Mail Fuzz Twitter, which is more about channel updates. But you can do that. If you want to support the show and support the channel as a whole, you can go over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can do that over there. There's a bunch of bonuses and things that you get if you do that. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching superhero stuff, which is easy now because there's so much bloody of it everywhere.
You could probably watch just superhero stuff and fill out your week quite nicely.
Probably, but you'd probably get a little bit bored. And then you'd have to sit through things like Punisher, which...
And you'd be going, why aren't I watching Mr. Robot?
Oh yeah, watch Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot's great. So yeah, well, thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. And always remember that we screw up for the better. It's actually we screw things up for the better. I've been alternating it a little bit.
I was just gonna say, I swear you alternate these every time.
Yeah,
I don't know which one it is anymore.
I've altered it a little bit every single week. I'll do it one more time. Sometimes we screw things up for the better.